So we're so glad you're here today because this is going to be an exciting episode as we welcome Isabel Hawk. She's a plant-based health coach who's been helping women over 40 transform their health for over 20 years. Check that out. She is very passionate about all things health. And by the way, she does have some ways to help you. Isabel, nice to have you.
Hello, thanks for having me, and
I
hello to the viewers at home.
Yeah, and I love your accent. Do you guys not just love that? So tell us where you're from exactly.
So I originally come from Nottingham in the UK, but I live on the Isle of Man in between the UK, Liverpool and Ireland. It's a fantastic
Ah,
place to live. It's
yeah.
like England in the 1950s. Everything's just lovely.
So the only way for you to get somewhere, do you have to take a ferry like into
Yeah,
is it
we take a ferry or we take a plane, and we
wow.
just hope that the weather is good enough for us to go.
Oh, I can't imagine that. So do you have grocery stores and everything there so you don't have to go?
Yeah, we've got everything. We're fully
Oh,
equipped.
nice.
We're just like a little city in the UK, but we've moved onto an island somewhere. It's
That
great.
is really fascinating. So you're in more ways than one a health coach, but I want to know, can you give us a little bit of backstory of why you have such a passion for transforming women's health? Can you give us a little backstory of what's behind that?
Yeah, so I grew up in the countryside, as I mentioned earlier, and I was surrounded by animals, and it was absolutely amazing. We're either getting wet outside in the cold or we were hanging around with the animals in the summer. It was great. But as I got older, I moved to the city, as you do, and to get a job and meet new people. And I became detached from the environment and detached from the animals. And I started like everybody else does, eating junk and
Uh-huh.
sitting on the sofa and, not exercising, not
Mm.
eating right. And then I came across a gym one day and I started going to the gym and I started, I started to feel amazing once I
Wow.
went to the gym. So I just kept it up and kept it up. But I realized somewhere along the line that the gym's not just good enough. You have to have the diet as well.
Wow.
Plus the environment, the right environment with the right people. And along
So
the way, it's been a
can,
learning curve.
what was going on with your inside in your life before you found the gym? Did you just realize there's got to be something more for your health, or were you not really even seeking anything?
So at that point, I was young, like young people are. They think they've got life by their side. They've got at least another 50, 60 years. If they look at, or they don't even think about it, like 33 is really old. And when I was younger, Space Odyssey 2001 was out. And I'm like, oh, I'll be 33 when that actually
Oh,
happened.
okay.
But then I had children. And
Oh,
that's the reality. When you get children, you have to realize you've got to start looking after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, who's going to look after them if anything
wow.
happens to you? So it was a long journey, but it started with the kids.
It started with the kids. Wow. Now you help women who are over 40. So in a way, you're helping the women who their kids maybe are growing up or they have left the house. Which is it, or both?
Both, I mean, the reason I help women over 40 is because I had my youngest child when I was 36, and my body started to have a few problems after that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I started to do some research, like what's the problem? Why am I having these problems? And the problem was I had a huge polyp in my
Oh,
womb.
wow.
It was huge. It was like the size of a tennis ball. And I didn't know what to do. So I did the research and I found out that if you go on a vegan diet, it'll shrink. So I tried
Wow.
it. And
Yeah.
guess what? It shrank.
Wow.
But it didn't disappear. What it did was it was absorbed into the lining of my womb,
Okay.
which caused all manner of other problems.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I did some more research and I found out that a whole foods plant-based diet
Yeah.
is the way to go. So I went whole foods plant-based diet. I was still exercising. I was
Mhm.
drinking plenty of water. I was getting enough sleep. I was trying to hang around the right people and do the right things. And guess what? It went.
Wow.
So
And
I'm free of
when you said you had a colic, describe what that is.
a polyp.
Pull up, a polyp. Okay, sorry.
sorry, is that my
Yeah,
accent?
those can be dangerous. Yeah, okay. I didn't quite get that language
Yeah.
difference. So after you did all those things, it started to go. It went away.
Yeah. So since February 2019, nothing. No
That's
problems,
beautiful.
nothing. And I transitioned through the menopause quite easily.
That's beautiful. Yeah. See, and that's such a testimony, and that I like that you say it's over 40 because it's for a lot of women and in my audience, it's not too late. You know, I had my second child when I was 36. Uh, and I realized all of a sudden I felt like someone picked me up and threw me against the brick. So there's definitely something that goes on. And I thought I was pregnant for the third one, and I went to the doctor and they did some tests. And when I came back for the results, she says, I don't know how you're sitting here. It had affected my thyroid. And she goes, they did these tests twice because they could not believe your thyroid was this inactive. I had hypothyroid. And that has been, I mean, I've gotten it down. I don't like taking a bunch of pills. So I know there's a way to eat your way to health. So that's why I believe in what you're saying. So what would you say to someone like me? I mean, thyroid problems is so common. I think especially in the US or maybe worldwide.
Mhm.
Well, what would just be, I'm your patient. What would you say?
The first thing I would say is always consult your doctor.
Sure.
If you're on medication, consult your doctor. If it's an
Right.
extreme illness, you're not quite certain what the problem is, consult your doctor.
So good.
I'm not a doctor,
Right.
I'm a health specialist, so I'm not
Yes.
a doctor. I didn't go to university to study medicine.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
but I do have over 26 years experience in, health,
Yeah.
fitness, and with with the last 12, 15 years with vegan diets and plant-based diets.
Wow.
So I've helped a lot of women overcome the menopause. I've helped a lot of
Yes.
people overcome weight challenges, uh,
Yeah.
depression and anxiety.
Oh,
Because
those are big ones. Yeah.
the saying that you are what you eat, it is actually true. You
Wow.
are what you eat. If you eat a lot of processed food with a lot of additives, a lot of salt, sugar, and fat,
Sure.
you're going to feel very much different to if you
Yeah.
eat a lot of natural stuff.
Right.
And the one tip I would give people is if you need to look on a label to see what you're eating, don't eat it.
Wow.
Don't eat it.
Don't what now? If you see,
So if you have to pick your food and it has a label on it and you have to see what the ingredients
oh, shoot.
are,
I understand.
because that's not food, that's food product.
Wow. So good. Did you guys hear that? If you don't understand what's and you're reading the ingredients and it makes no sense, it's not the real deal. So what are some of your testimonies? I know you've dealt with women, like you said, including weight loss. Well, can you give us a testimony? Let's go for weight loss. What testimony have you had? Because I know you have really helped a lot of people.
So I'll give you an example of a lady. She was in her late 50s at the time. She'd gone through a hysterectomy. She'd put on a lot of weight. She was really depressed and she
Mm.
didn't feel herself and she felt like she'd lost herself.
Mm,
So we sat down, we worked out who she wanted to be, where she wanted to go, and what
I like that.
life she wanted in the end. So it wasn't just dealing with the weight loss, it was dealing with the problems underneath the weight gain.
Oh, so good.
So we worked it out, we set some goals, and we make sure that the goals are huge because if you can achieve your goals in 5 months, 6 months, a year, they're too small.
Okay. Okay.
So we set huge goals which you can't possibly achieve, and then we put a step-by-step process in, which is fun. So
Wow.
she wanted to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, and we went, let's just have fun with this.
Okay.
With the fun, she lost 50 pounds in 6 months.
Okay.
She
Now
kept
tell me, how did you put fun into losing weight, Isabella?
Well, people consider exercise as something disastrous, something that's going to change their life for the worst. Like you're interfering with my Netflix.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that. I mean, a lot
That
of
is so
people,
good.
kill themselves in the gym as well, and you don't have.
Oh,
So if you loved dancing at the age of 9, the chances are you can revisit that and love dancing
nice.
again. So
Nice.
you don't have to lift weights in the gym. You can dance, you can swim, you can
Jeez.
do yoga, you can do whatever exercise as long as you move for 35 minutes minimum every single day.
That's so good. I love that because a lot of times people like did things when they were little and they really had fun, and then revisiting it, they can still do that, and there could be a benefit on the energy side or on the weight side. I love that. I just think that is so cool because, when I had a weight problem, um, like I'm trying to think when it started, 13 to 25. And this is just an example. I went the opposite way. So I lost weight. But after I lost weight, I didn't want to exercise anymore because for those many years, I wasn't making it fun. Okay. I was running 4 to 5 miles, I was doing the swimming thing. And I was a professional golfer. So I was working, but it wasn't until now, it's not, I don't think I changed my habits as much, except sometimes it could be hormonal, couldn't it? So, like about 25, all of a sudden the weight started coming off. And the sad thing, Isabella, I'm going to admit it. I had no motivation to do the weights and do the exercise. It wasn't until just later that, like, wait a minute, I could at least walk. So
Yeah.
I love that. So let me ask you another question. How about, oh, this is a good one. How would you help us improve our energy levels?
Oh, that's simple. Just eat the right food.
Yeah,
And one of the things I tell my clients is mindset is everything. So if you
yeah,
go into a challenge, because I never say you're going on a diet, it's a
right.
lifestyle, but we start with the challenge because the challenge
Okay.
is 3 days or 30 days. It's easy because you've got a limit on it, but we make it fun and we plan it so the journey is enjoyable.
Okay.
So, you know, everything in life is affected by what we eat, and what we eat affects our mindset. So if you go
Yeah.
into any change, exercise, diet, or anything, feeling like you're punishing yourself or you're uh,
Yeah.
going to go without, you're depriving yourself, you can have challenges and they're going to be overwhelming and all consuming. So the best thing is just one step at a time.
I love that. Because, like, I know in my past, okay, I'm going to go on a diet. Then every fast food sign I noticed. But then my brother, my oldest brother, was really encouraging. He said, Tracy, you got to stop thinking diet and start thinking maybe body fat. And so I stopped thinking about it. So I didn't notice all the fast food. And it was like a mindset set shift. And I wouldn't be surprised if his advice, helped me to lose weight by the time I was 25. And I've kept it off. If anything, I've gotten skinnier. And I try to eat. I gotta, you're gonna might not like this, but I have this plant based organic protein. I thought I'm just gonna drink it in honor, but I'm not gonna tell you what's inside it. Oh gosh. Okay, so we got it now. This is a tough one.
Okay.
This is a tough one. Someone's got something that's very chronic. It might be a disease. And I believe God has put answers in people like you to go back to the basics. So they might have the disease, it might be because of their diet or it just might have hit them. How would you help someone like that?
Again, first of all, they need to consult their doctor, but
I appreciate that.
a step-by-step approach to changing the mindset and the belief system first.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time we're given a lot of labels and
Uh-huh.
we fall back on those labels, and people own those labels. So when
Yeah.
you have an identity of being someone with an illness, it's
Ooh,
very hard to come out of it.
that's
So
so
for
good.
instance, if you identify as somebody with diabetes, it's going to be very hard for you to change your lifestyle around because your brain is going to try and protect you because
Wow.
you have this label. So, in changing your mindset, in changing your identity, you can be somebody who identifies as someone who's on a wellness journey.
Yeah.
And much easier that way, much easier.
Wow. I love that you said identity because I'm really big about the voice, and I'll often think that your voice is really your identity in action. And I like that you are talking about that because I know I've heard of studies where if someone says like, "Well, I'm bound to have a heart attack because my dad had a heart attack and his," well, your brain takes that information and does something with it that's not good. So I like that a lot of what you're talking about is definitely based in good mind neuroplasticity and your neurons and you obviously understand that. You just explained it. Someone who thinks they have a chronic disease. It may be chronic, but there is ways not to gloss over it, but to walk in a program and not continue to say, I have a chronic disease. I have a chronic. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, your brain's got two functions, to keep you alive and ticking and to keep you safe. And it believes whatever you tell it. So why
Yes.
not tell it something positive?
That's why I like when you said you had fun with the weight loss because you really can inform your brain. And,
Mhm.
like you said, your brain doesn't know the difference. And next thing you know, and if you don't have any evidence, so your brain's going to play this replay, but you can change that evidence. I'm not talking mumble jumble positive thinking at all. I'm talking about neuroplasticity where you can rewire your brain and say, hey, wait a minute, I may not be at my goal of losing weight yet, but I'm no longer going to look in the mirror and just tell myself I'm fat because I'm informing my brain who knows no difference. Why don't I say I'm on a journey to lose weight and it's fun? Because I got Isabella as my coach. Come on. All right. I've asked you quite a few. Let me see if I can find one more because I know this is helping people, Isabella. Let's see. How about just we talked about it, but what when someone I don't know what you do when someone really has a disease. Maybe they have cancer, maybe they have what's that? Well, I mean, how do you is that did you find that difficult or do you just try to change the mindset of yeah, you have a disease, but let's see if we can't work on that. Let's see if we can't find some answers for you. How do you do that when you're looking at someone who has a disease? It might be cancer, let's say.
Okay, so when you have an illness or a disease, it's very easy to just focus on that. And
Right.
when you focus on just the negative, you get this sense of impending doom.
Yeah.
What happens if you focus on who you used to be, who you
Right.
were born to be? We take people back to when they were their happiest.
Oh,
We ask them to map out their journey, how they would have liked it to be.
so
And
good.
instead of focusing on something like cancer that can take their life away from them very quickly,
Yeah.
focus on what they can achieve while they're here. So they
So
focus on their family, they focus on their friends, they focus on their bucket list or the number one thing they wanted to achieve before they left the planet in 30 years. But we take the emphasis away from the illness and we move
wow.
to who they can be.
That's beautiful. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that. And I know you always say, consult your doctor, but you just spoke life, for someone to change their viewpoint. And I'm sure even changing their diet, as hard as that might be for someone, I'm sure they could see like a drastic change just by that, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I had one client, it was very funny. She laughs a lot about this now, but when I said,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, you're going to have to eat more green stuff."
Uh-huh.
And she, green? Yes, broccoli, Swiss chard, all the green things, cabbage. What?
Oh,
No.
that's
I'm like, okay, you can't do it in plant form, but what about in liquid form? Worse, no. Like, okay, so let's learn to cook. I said, okay, I can do that.
okay.
So we started off with soup. Now, with soup in the UK, you boil it, you blitz it. No sign of the green stuff anymore.
Blitz it. What's that mean?
So we get a blender and we bzz until it's liquid,
Okay.
smelly, creamy liquid. So she started with putting the plants into the soup and working from there. And then from there, it was pasta sauces, and then it was different types of potato. And then
Oh,
she was getting very creative. She was making burgers and things. And she went from saying, I can't cook, I've never cooked, I don't know how to cook, and I'm definitely not eating green stuff, to being one of the best cooks I know.
oh, what a testimony. And
Yeah.
you do offer plant-based recipes and meal plans. So that right now we're going to continue on, but right now that's just intriguing someone. Where can they find some of that?
You can find me on I've got several websites. I've got yourplantbasedhealth.com, which
Okay.
is recipes only. Then I've got createthatbody.com, which is a bit of both, just tells you information really.
Nice.
But you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at
That's good too.
isabella.com.
And that's Isabella Hawk. That because that to me is fascinating. Uh, like that this woman who thought she couldn't cook found some of your recipes, followed your advice, and you consider her one of the best cooks. That's incredible. And she got her greens in there.
She
Wow.
did. And now she tells everybody she's my best ambassador. I go do the Isabella thing because look at me.
I love that. She's what a great testimony. Now you offer one-on-one coaching, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have
And,
one-on-one and group coaching.
and group coaching. How do they find you one-to-one?
So normally it's through referral. I don't
Okay.
have advertising, but they can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or on the website.
Yeah. Because that's just so needed. And what do you enjoy more, one-to-one or group coaching?
It depends because in group coaching it can be very dynamic and can be very fun and interesting.
Uh-huh.
Put on workshops and make it so people feel young again.
Yeah.
But on the one-to-one, you get that personal connection where you
Yeah.
really bond with the person, and it's
Sure.
not like training, it's not teaching, it's bringing
Oh,
people along that journey. So when they have problems, you can identify with that problem, you can understand it, you can help them out of it.
that's so good.
There's more emphasis on the individual.
Yeah. I'm sure you enjoy both.
Mm.
That's such, I mean, you seem like you find someone who has a problem and you know you can solve it, but you don't just jump all over them and say this. I really like the fact that you get to know them and you take the whole psyche into effect, their identity, their mindsets, that's beautiful. Usually when you think of a health coach or you think, oh, they're going to talk about is, but you really take the whole person. And tell me, why is it important? I think you've answered this in so many ways, but why is it important to take in their mindset, their identity, and other aspects of who they are into health?
Because in today's society, it's quite easy to believe that we're all broken, but we're
Mm,
not broken. We don't need fixing. We just
mm,
need a different way to look at things.
wow.
When you offer people a different way to look at things and you give them a step-by-step process, they can normally figure out the bigger picture by themselves. So it's
Yeah.
important to empower people with the right knowledge and the right tools and skills to enable them to do it for themselves and
Yes.
then to go on and teach other people.
Wow. That's so good. I love that. So what is your greatest joy in what you do? Or what's your passion behind it?
So my greatest joy is seeing people succeed. I get all emotional. It's like listening to opera music.
Sure.
Get all emotional, but it's the success behind it. Just
Mm,
because a lot of people believe they're broken and they say,
mhm.
why is life happen to me? Why did it do this set of cards? Why did God do this?
Mhm.
The thing is, we none of that's true. Life's like a chessboard. And you've got an equal number of black squares, equal number of white squares to get from one side of the
Yeah,
table to the other. And we just have to know how to get across there. It's a strategy. So
yeah.
the passion I take from that is helping people across the game of life, really.
So
And
good.
it's not just about plants. It's not about eating plants. It's not just about exercise or the environment. It's about creating that whole person that then can then go on and create other whole people, and then we can build a community and a world community, a global community, one
That
person
is
at
beautiful.
a time.
That is so beautiful. And I would add, you take the whole person, all those pieces, and personally for me, you add a relationship with God, and those pieces seem to come together. Now, I know on the opposite side, people can be religious. They can think, oh, I have God, He's going to help me. But yeah, God gave us health coaches. God gave us doctors. I'm sorry, I'm getting on a soapbox here. God gave us people to help us. That doesn't mean you ignore them. Yeah, God will help you. But God also gave us Isabel Hawks. God also gave us, the great. I just feel that way because sometimes people get stuck in almost a religious box thinking, well, God will take care of me. But then they go and watch Netflix all the time and they don't exercise. And I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone listening. I'm sorry, but you know it. So I'm calling you out.
The thing is, if you're not religious, or even if you are religious, if you take the Bible and you use it as a manifesto for good living,
Whoa.
one thing that comes out of the Bible, and that is you can have all the knowledge in the world, you can have all the inspiration in the world, God can give it to you, but unless you put it into action,
Come on.
you're not going to get anywhere. So, people that say, I've got God. Yes, you do. He's there all the time, but you also have to implement some action because he's giving you the tips.
Yeah. And I think he gives us the gift of faith. He gives us the gift of the power of the Holy Spirit. So he doesn't leave us toolless. He gives us all the tools. And I don't mean to, offend anyone who's listening, but I've just been around a lot of people who did not take the right steps. And I was married to one. He passed away and he just would not go to the doctor. Could have saw that pancreatic cancer, and he was a great man. He loved Jesus and everything, but he just was not taking the steps. And it's sad to say that. I'm sad to say that, but I saw it, and my kids saw it, and they could not stand it. So, words to the wise. He died. Pancreatic cancer snuck up on him. He probably could have identified it earlier, and it was probably one of the most brutal cancers of pain. So keep that in mind. So, any parting thoughts do you have for us? Any instructions or encouragement?
We all think that we've got another 10, 15, 20, 30 years left, but we don't know when it's our time to go. Not really. So if we take one day at a time and treat every day as though it's our last day and make the most out of the day we're given. So try not to be miserable. Try to hang around with positive minded people. Try to take good from everything, even if it's something that's bad. Try to eat the right foods. It's not always easy. In most cases, it's really hard, but try to educate yourself on the things that are really good for you and for your family. Try to exercise, even if it's just a walk down to the shops and back again, as long as you're moving. Clean your house, mow your grass, that's movement. And always, always, always believe that you can be the best version of yourself, no matter what age, what situation, or who you've been told you are, or who you believe you are. You have the right to be the best version of yourself.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So once again, if someone wants to get in touch with you, is DMing you on Instagram or
Not Instagram. Facebook's probably the best place.
okay, Facebook. Gotcha.
Facebook comes through to WhatsApp, so it's
Yeah,
ideal.
I love WhatsApp. Is it Isabella Hawk? Spell your last name.
I think it's Isabella Hawk 3 on Facebook, but don't worry, there's not 3 of me, there's just the one.
I appreciate that. And I have no doubt that Isabella will get back with you because that's her heart is to see you well. So Isabel, thank you so much. This has been just like really I don't know what the word is, motivating, inspiring. And to me personally, hey, God made the plants. Let's start eating the plants that we're supposed to eat. He didn't make Doritos. He didn't make, I'm sorry. Okay, once a week maybe, but he didn't make that stuff. To me, it doesn't taste good in the regards that you can get to a point where you don't want to eat that stuff. So that's a fun place. Well, thank you, Isabella. And I really can't wait to hear more testimonies as people come to you and find hope, help in so many ways. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody that's listening.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for listening. This is Unleashing Kingdom Voices. If you want more information, I will put Isabella's information in the show notes. Please go down there and check her out. Tell her you loved listening to her. And, we don't get these kind of knowledge often. And when we do, we got to grab them in and have them sit down and talk with us. So thanks again for listening to Unleashing Kingdom Voices. I will talk to you in the next episode.